everyone, welcome to darkfaetarot. You are joining me at the end of what was a slightly chilly but at least somewhat bright day in Brussels. Welcome to new subscribers, welcome back to those who already know me. So yes, we are in early December. The Christmas lights are here and you might be joining me at any time of the year. But anyway, just so you know, I'm filming in early December. And yes, you are here for the review of the Tarot of Vampires. This is a deck that I used during the Scorpio season this year, which was great for me because that's actually like my birthday is right at the beginning of the season. So it's a really nice time of year for me. And I used it all the way through Halloween. And then of course into the third week of November when I switched over to another deck. Now this is a low Scarabeo deck. It is by Ian Daniels, both the guidebook and the artwork. And it was retailing it when it was sold for approximately about 30 euros, which is about the same in US dollars. And it was available, yes, of course, mass market. This is an out of print deck indeed. So you might be thinking, why would I even want to watch this review? But look, this deck is still available on shelves in certain bookshops. I have definitely seen it. I saw in Watkins a while ago in September. I think they're now sold out. But still, in some places, in some bookstores, whether you're in North America, in Europe, in other parts of the world, you might be able to find it somewhere if you're still looking, hopefully at a reasonable price. It is out of print. Just so everybody is aware, and a little bit of a exclusive, or maybe it's not exclusive, I don't know. Ian Daniels is bringing out another deck. It's going to be a fairy deck. I don't know much about it. I just know that he is coming forth with a new deck, which might explain why this one has been taken out of print. I don't know. You know, there is certain things that the publishing world does, and I just go with, like, you know, it could be because he's releasing a new deck and they can only have so many decks from an author. I don't know all of that. I think this was an immensely popular deck for its time. Personally, I don't agree with it going out of print because I think a lot of people, whether into vampires or not, would have appreciated this deck. But, you know, that's just my personal opinion. Spoiler, I like the deck. But let me just go into it and talk about it a little bit. And, you know, if you're on the lookout for it, you might think, is it worth paying? I don't know, you might be now getting it $50 or $80 or $100 or whatever it is. You might be wondering, is it worth me spending the money? So perhaps this review is helpful on that basis. Okay. So it is a typical Llewellyn deck, which means it's coming in as one of these large boxes. Also, before I forget, the guidebook is still available, separately sold. It's just the actual, now this big box deck kind of thing has gone out of print. The deck is never available. No, I've never seen it available in a tuck box size. Some Llewellyn decks come under low Scarabeo's tuck box size, kind of like selling, for example. I know Shadowscapes, what Barbara Moore does, or some of the Ciro Marchetti decks do, but the Tarot of Vampires, have never seen it in that version. So in case you might be duped into buying a forgery, a counterfeit deck, I've ever seen it in this large grand box, large Llewellyn box size, just to be very clear. Okay, so you can see just by looking at this and from all the hype around the deck, and look at that inside is stunning. This deck, and this is the guidebook called Phantasmagoria. That's what the guidebook is called if you're looking for it separately sold, mass market. We're going to come back to the guidebook in a bit. And now we're going to go through the cards. And you can already tell this is a very, very Gothic deck. So these are the cards. Can't speak right now. And these are the back of the cards. Let me now move this out of the way. We're not going to be looking at that. So let me just close that and put it to the side for a bit. And there we go. There's the deck. Just excuse me for a moment. I need to take off my very large sweater because I'm going to boil to death already. Okay, so these are the back of the cards. And I just want to say that I haven't trimmed them or anything. So if you purchase this deck, this is what the back will look like altogether. And this deck is now in order. So I'm going to go through it as I talk about it. And I just want to say that I worked with this deck so late after it went out of print. I'd had it for years actually. But the reason why I didn't work with it was because the hype about it was so amazing. Like it was just like, you know, the best thing since sliced bread kind of thing, that I felt like I was being influenced a lot by the influencers. And the thing is then I feel like, am I actually looking at the deck through my eyes or somebody else's vision of the deck? And I wanted to see it for me. So I kind of like on purpose just didn't say anything about the deck and didn't work with the deck until now, until I felt ready. And it was kind of like a bit of a birthday treat for myself to now work with the deck. Okay, so just want to say, as we go through the deck, I'm babbling. First of all, this Fool card, and I'm going to go through all the cards, is one of my favorite Fool cards ever. And I very rarely say that because the Fool is not really one of my favorite cards in 78 Keys. But this Fool card is just, oh my word, it is stunning. I remember when I saw it, and when I kind of like had it as a random pull near the beginning of when I was pulling each card, and I was just, my breath was blown away. I love the different elements. I love the cross here, the roses, and I love here the eagle, the light shining on it. Of course, the huge geometric impressions we're having between the eagle and the Fool themselves. And on top of that, I absolutely love the depiction of the Fool in this card. I think he looks stunning. I love how his body has been just, he looks great, basically. I have to say that. And I'm not into like the whole Gothic thing normally. Maybe I think what I am is a hidden goth. I don't know, like a goth on the inside, but I don't show it on the outside. And I certainly don't gravitate towards it in that sense. But if you saw me when I was 17, it looked a bit different. But anyway, yeah, I think I'm kind of like got that kind of thing going on. And this Fool card really was like an awakening for me. I remember seeing it and thinking, now this is what my 16-year-old would have loved. So there you go. So yeah, the deck is, I think, very evocative. I feel like Ian Daniels has worked very hard to look at the bustier on her. Oh my God, that corset. Just, it's otherworld. It's a costume. It's really costumes now. I feel like Ian Daniels, and look at the apples here. Like, I want to go back and just say that the embroidery on her dress and that attention to detail is just, yeah. I mean, I know today I know we have AI. I don't want to go into the whole AI thing, but I see this and I'm like, that is an artist that is incredible. Now, on top of that, it's the book that's hovering above her legs, her knees. It's the way she's grasped her gown. I feel like any moment now, she's ready to just transcend and go into the world. It's the bows in her back. So she's ready to fight. This is the high priest. This is the priestess. The candle on the side, we don't need to see the two pillars here. It's very clear there will be another candle on the other side. It's just, he's just done this. It's like we're catching her. We're catching her as she is in prayer or in devotion, or she's being worshipped. We could also see it that way, but we are catching her at a moment. I just think that is visually so stunning. So I won't rabbit on about every card, but you can see that I'm really in love with the images on the deck. And I've had this with a few Llewellyn decks where I really do absolutely love the art in them. And this one carries with it its attention to detail and the fineness of however he's done the paintings. I'm not an artist, so I don't know that. I'm not a beautician. I don't have any of that skill set. You saw me, if you see me with doing my eyeliner, you'd be like, yeah, she's definitely not a beautician. But I just find that his artwork is stunning. Now here we have the Hierophant, and when I saw this card, I found the play with the, this is a Taurian card, so he's put the horns in, but on obviously this Hierophant looks a little bit menacing. Let's just be clear there, and I think he's just done it so well. Like, the hands. Look at the hands. I think we feel like. And the blue rose that she's offering up. The whole thing is about, for me, it's about, this is what I'm offering up to you. And there's a lot there, her nakedness, the whole of it. Here we have the Lovers card. Again, the moth there. There's just, which reminds me a little bit of death, transformation, but we also have Gemini in there and flight. Just there's so much in there. The Chariot here. I'm not going to go through the detail of every card because there's too much. There's a crab that's worn as a chest. It's worn on his chest as a breastplate. I mean, just I mean, have you ever seen a crab or menacing them at that moment where it's like it becomes a shield, a breastplate? I mean, come on, let's talk about that. I really like that the girls are not all kind of like completely skinny. I mean, obviously they're slim. You know, they could have been body diversity. I definitely admit that. But you know, I've also seen decks where the girls look like they're like really anorexic, and I'm glad that this is not happening. And I don't mean that offensively. I just mean that I prefer healthiness in our body shapes. I've had my own personal battles. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, I prefer healthiness. So yeah, I really like that this deck looks like it's, the models are models, you know, they look like real people in some ways, or real vampires. And yeah, I just think that there's no sloppiness in his images. Even the wheel, you know, he's not done this as a rush job. He's not just plonked down a wheel and then drawn 4 little bits on the side and said, that's it, I'm done. He's really put time and effort into the color of the roses, signifying different things. The body shapes here going around, there's a lot there. This is the strength card. I pulled this card on the day after the US elections, and I just found that very, very ironic. Yeah, however you want to take that message, basically. So yeah, this deck just really, I mean, look, that looks like a pool of blood, which I think it's meant to be. He looks like he's being drained, or maybe it's a she, I don't know. They look like they're being drained. That's what I am definitely going to say. And then that serpent winding itself around. I love it. I absolutely love it. Death. I didn't get to pull this card this time, but definitely a very, again, the ethereal nightgown, the eyeliner, just the whole thing. She's dripping. She's crying these bloody tears, or these black tears. It's just amazing. I do remember pulling this card, and I just had such a pull towards it. It's almost like she's doing this kind of like spell, and at the same time I feel like I'm caught into the spell. Again, the Sagittarian bow in there, very cleverly done. Here, of course, is the devil. Again, very evocative images. The tower card, I pulled this card on the day I got onto a plane, and I was doing a 3-flight journey, so you got to remember that I was like exhausted when I arrived on the other side, but I remember pulling this card and thinking, oh, this is going to be part of my 3-part journey. So yeah, excuse me one moment while I take a sip of water, because I do get thirsty doing these videos, and I've got some tea here, but I really do need actual just water. Again, the start. Sorry if you heard me slurping there. This deck really is, for me, like I'm in a world. Ian Daniels has created a world. I think he sat there and really thought about, who are these vampires? What families are there? What clans exist? How did they work with each other? We're going to go into the guidebook in a moment. How do they talk to each other? How do they relate to each other? What is their backstory? Do they get along? Who is fighting who? Who perhaps has a journey to set out on? This was the first card I pulled in the deck. I remember pulling this card, and I just remember thinking, this deck is saying to me, go. Like, I've got really a lot of things on my mind right now, and this deck is saying to me, no, it's time to go. It's time to put it in action. It is time to, you know, test the virtue, test that, cross that barrier that might be holding me back. The ships are coming in. Of course, again, we have the Aries there, the sign, you know. So yes, this is, by the way, of course, I forgot to say, but is harking back to Thoth. However, I want to say one thing. When we get into the guidebook, I am going to say some things which you might or not all, I don't know, they're just my personal impressions. The 4 of Scepters, which is 4 of Wands. So the Scepters here are the Wands in this deck, of course. But yeah, we're in a world. He's really thought about the people. He's thought about the characters. He's thought about the stories, the images. You know, he's made, like, you know, here the 7 of Scepters, we're seeing a very autumnal scene. It's just, it's beautiful. It's really, really beautiful. This would have been Leo season. I was just thinking of this autumnal scene. Wow. Yeah, so we're just seeing like a lot, like movement here. Wow. that you can see, like, I don't know how to put it. He just does the story. He tells the story very, very well through his images. And I really feel like we're in a play, we're in a film, we're in an act. Beautiful Daughter of Scepters. Really, really gorgeous. Here's the Prince. Here's the Queen. Doesn't that remind you a little bit of Christina Ricci? Does when she, yeah, a little bit, little slightly. Not completely. Okay, Lord of Scepters. So, now we get to the Grails, which are, gets a bit, these are the cups. The cups are like this turquoisey green. So this is that. Again, beautiful use of colour. He's got this, I think it makes I think he's very, very, he's very good at the depictions. He's very good at getting us involved, like we're in the scene, like we're really witnessing a window into their world. We can be a part of their world. And the guidebook does talk about that, which I'm going to go into. I'm actually going to try and speed this up a bit now because we do have to get to the meat. So you are going to see the guidebook. You're going to see some pairings that I used as well. But yeah, I think this is the Eight of Cups. I mean, look at him bound. Look at that gargoyle in the back, still holding one of the cups. 10. And here comes, yeah, so, yeah, that would have been the 9, Eight of Grails, sorry, I missed one. I was thinking, what's happened there? I think somehow there's one that's gone errant. I'm going to have to find it. The 9 of Grails has gone missing here somewhere. I'll find it a bit later. Queen, here it is. I was thinking, what's happened here? Here's the 9 of Grails. So wishes coming true. And then the 10. Daughter of Grails. Princess of Cups. Here's the Prince. And here's the Queen. Wow. I mean, very Medusian. There is this very watery snake. Wow. Wow. Okay. And here's our King of Cups. Yeah. So, and then we get into the blades, the knives. And again, just, wow. Sad. I mean, yeah. I feel like she's done that, but she didn't like to do it. Beautiful imagery again here. I remember getting this card and just being drawn into it. Here's the 5. So yeah, I remember also this is the card that I pulled on my birthday. I thought that was just amazing. 7 of Swords, basically the traditional 7 of Swords, but I just love how it's been depicted here. And here's the 8 of Swords. That devil now is chained up. Isn't that interesting? 9. So the devils are actually werewolves in this card, in this deck. Here's our 10. Here's our daughter. I love the tights. And she's wearing Doc Martens, I think. Yeah, Doc Martens. There you go. Here's a here's a Queen. Again, beautiful, beautiful costume. Here's our Lord. I really believe that costumes were worn by models in order to do this. I just think it's just been done so well. Here's our Ace of Skulls, our Ace of Pentacles. Here's our 2. Our 3. Again, she's weaving away. Love it. 4 of Skulls. Our 5. Wow. Wow. Talk about isolation and loss. And feeling isolated and left at the mercy of the wolves. Here's our 6. I love her legs in this, very fawn-like. You can see that. There's a creature there. Love this 8 of Skulls, this 8 of Pentacles. I feel like he also goes back to that magician qualities there. Here's our 9. 10 of skulls, very pensive. I like that. And I like that the matriarch is the head of the family here. Here's our princess of skulls, our daughter of skulls, or pentacles. Malkuth. Our prince. Our queen of skulls, beautiful again. And finally, our king of pentacles, our lord of skulls. Okay, so there you go. That was the whole deck. Now, what I want to do is go into the guidebook, which is quite meaty, but I want to go into that because I think it is important. Let me put that to the side for now. Right, so the guidebook is called Phantasmagoria. It is a beast of a book. And, you know, if you haven't had the chance to get the deck and perhaps you want to even just get the guidebook even, I have no idea how much it will retail for separately. One thing I want to say about the guidebook is this deck has been construed as a Thoth deck. And I want to make this clear. Working with this deck, I think that it's actually more RWS, Ian Daniels, as true to the Golden Dawn system has made his own deck with his own interpretations. I actually don't think this is a Thoth deck at all. I think that he's got elements of Thoth, but Thoth has a system and a way of looking at cards, which when we start to deviate away from it, it can, I don't know how else to put this, but I personally think that sometimes, even though people don't intend to be Christian, they look at things through those eyes. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I'm being very neutral about this. But I do think that that look at the world, that lens, that filter is there. And I believe some of that seeps into this. And I say that not in a critical manner. I just say this because there's a lot of this is Thoth and that is Thoth. Personally, I go back to Golden Dawn and writers from the Golden Dawn and how they see cards for me to really get an understanding of the main core elements and then how Aleister Crowley pulls from that in order to have his system of Thoth. And that, I think, is very, very, personally, I find that very hard to replicate. Even if I tried it myself, I would find it very hard to replicate. So that's why I think that the Thoth is a very intricate system. It's almost like it's locked in itself. And I think that's part of Aleister Crowley's genius. He did that on purpose through the art and through his instructions around the deck and the cards and the meanings of each card. So that's me blabbering a bit, but I just want to say that because it's a personal opinion. I'm not saying this is how everybody should think of it, but I want to say that because I am studying, for me, the Golden Dawn, the way I'm approaching it. And the more I do, the more I don't always think that all these other decks are Thoth, to be quite honest with you. I think when we read the Golden Dawn writings, especially those of the early 1900s, those people from those eras and from the 1940s and 50s, I really start to get a feeling that it's a system where once we start to try to deviate away from Crowley's way of thinking, it's actually not Thoth, to be quite honest with you. So yeah, that's just me babbling. Sorry, I'm going to shut up now. Let's go into Phantasmagoria. Sorry, I babbled there a little bit. Okay. So yeah, the book is fantastic. Even after all of that, by the way, this is not a critique on the book. This is just my comments. The book is fantastic. I still think it's a great guidebook. And I think that actually in its own right, it's very special. Okay, so here, Ian Daniels gives a introduction to, how we look at terror, we look at horror. I think that's amazing. Fear and shadow, his own thoughts about that, which again, I think is worth reading. The hunger. He also talks about something called kith and kin, which is around, this is about time, matter and time, but that's more about vampires and their families and so forth. And I really think that he's done, he's actually said also, before I forget, that he's actually given in this guidebook a way for us to personalize his deck with our feelings and interpretations. And I think that's amazing that the author is saying, make this yours, make this deck your deck as well. And I think that's just, yeah, again, I love that. He does quote C.S. Lewis here. But again, you know, harking back to what I personally feel, I feel like cards such as the Five of Swords, you know, he does read them more in what I would feel like Waite would have read them, rather than Crowley would have read the Five of Swords. But that's my personal interpretation. So just some thoughts that I have it, or, you know, someone like Dion Fortune, she would read it a little bit different, I would think. So, and she talks about that in her text. So again, these are just my thoughts, and I just want to say that, but I personally believe that if you've got still a chance to get this deck and guidebook, I would definitely encourage it. I'm just quickly going through this now. Of course, he gives us the Tree of Life, which is again amazing, and his own working with the Tree of Life, which again, this is all very Golden Dawn systematic. Okay, so this is the way cards and spreads and exercise. Oh, it's here he talks about, I love again, reading tips and guidelines. If you're new to tarot and you've got this deck, I again think you would really enjoy working with it. Maybe not, I don't know if it's your first deck or whatever, you would enjoy working with it, because he has made such a tremendous effort to walk somebody through this deck, whether or not they're beginners or they have experience with the tarot. So yeah, I really, really love this. He's given us exercises to do. I can't go through all of it, but yeah, there you go. Okay. So what else do I want to say about this guidebook? I'm just checking my notes here. Just give me a moment. So yeah, he's really personalized it, and it's a practical book. You know, it gives you several layers of interpretation, which we're going to look at per card. I once heard someone in a review, somebody saying that all the interpretations of the cards become similar or something. I didn't find that. I found that each card had a labor of love put in to do the writings in the guidebook. So I personally think that each card has been done meticulously in detail, and no cutting corners. Absolutely none. So yeah. What else was I going to say? I'm just wondering what I've made a mistake about here, but yeah. So he's really inviting you to get to know the deck using this guidebook. Okay, so I'm going to now just quickly shuffle the deck, and we are going to look at pairings. And sorry, it's turned into a bit of a long review. I'm going to try and wrap this up as much as possible. I'm going to try and shuffle them. They're not going to be that shuffled that well, but they'll be shuffled a little bit. Oh, there you go, flying around again as usual. Oh, see, there we go. Okay, that's that way around. Oh, they're not. It's not a reversal back, I just realized. Perhaps that's a good thing. I've edged mine in black. It was a bit of a disastrous edging, but because all of my edgings are a bit disastrous, but it works. It works. That's great. I also have a second copy of this deck, so I might edge that one in red. Who knows? I personally am never going to remove the borders, because I find the backs stunning, and I don't want to lose anything from the backs. I just find them too beautiful to do that. But there you go. So yeah, I'm just trying to give them as much a good shuffle as I can. I don't think they'll be that well shuffled, but hopefully there'll be a bit of variety between the cards, so you'll get to see them. Okay, so let's first of all randomly pull. Oh yeah, they glide really well. Let's randomly pull a card and do a quick guidebook reading. Oh, this one wants to come out. There we go. There we go. What do we have here? We have Three of Scepters. This was the first card I pulled from this deck as well. Oh my. It's almost like she wants to come back to me and say, get on with it. Okay, yeah. All right, I hear you. I hear you. Maybe I should have her tattooed on my arm or something. Okay, Three of Scepters. Oh, we went past her. Right, so what we're going to get in the guidebook. Let's go through it. This might be a bit too long, so I might have to skip some of it, but there we go. What you're going to get here is Three of Scepters. You're going to get Alchemy, Sun in Aries, Understanding, which is Bina on the Tree of Life, Understanding of Fire, Development of Spiritual Creativity, and then Kindred Spirits are Hekashia, I think that's the angel, and Emimia. Okay, Essence, the development of will, virtue, vision and creativity, new beginnings and new horizon, expansion, exploration, awakening, Awakenings, radiance and vitality, integrity, honesty and honor, hope, promises fulfilled, success in new ventures, self-assurance, confidence and inner balance, trust and anticipation, good fortune and self-control. So we get some key words basically here. Then we get the message. So let's see how long this is. Can I actually read this all? Maybe not. I don't know. This is the card of Vision New Beginnings. It is the onset of spring, where the intense energy of previous cards has now crystallized, transforming into luminous vitality. Here, the fire energy develops from the fierce passion of the two scepters into a more structured inner harmony, allowing for the heat and light of the sun to bring forth new life. In the Three of Scepters, the fire energy has transformed into a structured plan, allowing for conception of the original spirit of fire to formulate. This is all very Kabbalistic. The energy now takes on a directed flow in harmony with the cosmic laws. When this card appears in reading, it signifies that we are now connected with the cosmic flow and now being drawn towards new horizons and awakenings. Again, this is very Kabbalistic. If you read Pamela Eakins, she won't say this, but you will start to see the themes that are similar. It is time to make plans, to prepare for journey and to set sail into the unknown. Perhaps a new and exciting project opportunity or event is near. The card represents the beginning of a new cycle. A fresh breeze has entered into surroundings, filling us with enthusiasm and vitality. We are urged to use our skills, innovation, and our sense of adventure to move towards new horizons. Now, that is standard tarot. But when he talks about fire and the formulation and so forth of it, that's the Kabbalistic aspects. Just as the sun warms and nourishes the earth, so we are nourished by the exhilaration of a new phase of inner awakening. The time is perfect to start fresh endeavors and activities, to take the next step in our development, career or environment. New or existing relationships are unfolding, crystallizing into deeper vitality. The card represents the creative urge to seek out adventure and begins a journey towards greater prosperity and happiness. We find a thrilling sense of wonder as we visualize our desires becoming a reality. Our spirit is rekindled. We must now send our hopes and dreams into the flow of the everlasting. It's so interesting. He doesn't speak about the start of the Wheel of the Year. And I really want to point that out because true to Golden Dawn, the start of the Wheel of the Year is actually in Leo season for them. So, again, he's being very, very true to the Kabbalistic path. And then the Golden Dawn placement of the decans of the tarot cards onto the decans. So we have two crossing each other there. And that's how this works when we look at the GD system. Okay, analysis and symbolism. It says, it is important this time to make plans for our journey, to state what is we desire and to prepare for the quest ahead. You could actually break this down and make these into questions for yourself. The card possesses strong qualities of virtue, patience and centeredness. That is all Thoth and Golden Dawn. This teaches us that once we are prepared and charted our journeys, or have created our project and sent our wish or idea into the flow of the cosmos, we need to be patient and calm and have faith that the treasures we seek will come to us at the correct time. Being both noble and virtuous, the energy here also relates to our personal calling or talent. It may be that we are being encouraged to take the role of a leader or guide, inspiring others to great achievements and using our understanding to help others on their journey. Again, a great prompt question for yourself. A noble sense of duty, patience, warmth, and our vision will aid us in this undertaking. This virtue, again, very, very Thothian there, in the Three of Scepters also implies that we must remain respectful and honourable in our quest, and we must accept the flow of our destiny with dignity, grace, and everlasting hope. The Three of Scepters shows a Vampyres. See, the Crowley interpretation here will go a little bit deviant on this. Well, not deviant, I shouldn't say that, but it goes a little bit more into another area with this. I'll explain in a moment. The Three of Scepters shows a Vampyres holding a ram-headed scepter in one hand, creative energy, and a red rose, virtue and harmony in the other. Together, these illustrate the male and female qualities contained within the card. The active masculine energy of scepters in here combined with the inactive female energy of Bina, her position on the tree of life. These elements are perfectly balanced, creating a force both command and sensuality. The harmony of mind, body, and spirit has been active, illustrated by the poise and beauty of the Vampyres. She is immensely powerful in her rule of command, assertive and far-seeing, yet sensual and adaptable. In the background, we see her dark ship setting off on its journey into the unknown, representing the plans, desires, or projects and hopes and dreams that the card has prepared and set into motion. The ship is directed towards a new dawn, a watery sun, reflected by the lantern on the ship, symbolizing that our dreams and desires are already contained within our destiny. She awaits, still waiting, dreaming and visualizing her aspirations, patiently waiting for the promise and treasure that will come to her when the ship returns. The card is ruled by Aries and exalted in the sun, which reveals more of its nature. Aries is a sign of active energy driving forward, while the sun illuminates our lives and life-giving heat, brilliance and steady vitality. When we see the Three of Scepters, it is a time to accept our vision and be confident that we can obtain what we desire by reflecting on it with both excitement and stillness, creating an inner feeling of vitality and harmony. This is so interesting. They really put us into the shoes, the being of the Vampyres here. And then we have a shadow, restlessness, hopelessness, impatience, lacking vision, being unprepared for the way ahead, fear of the unknown, unfaithfulness, disharmony, worry and trepidation, brooding and lack of self-belief, lost feeling, lost or confused, insolence, undignified, feeling trapped or confined, attention-seeking, crudeness, anxieties and doubts. Very, very interesting. The reason why I say that there is a little bit of a change with Crowley is that he also, for me, as I recall in the Three of Wands, he brings into question the virtue of our plans and in a way questioning our motives. And I found that very, very vital when working with Three of Wands. So perhaps that is in here, but I've missed that meaning. It could happen. But I just want to talk about that because that is why I really believe symbolically virtue was placed also as one of the wordings, or the key word on the Thoth originally. But here in Daniel's, I really believe again and again that he's making his own deck, which is true. But what I mean is he's embodying the Golden Dawn spirit of make your own deck. I hope that makes sense, because that is part of the order. I don't know if he's a member of the order, I'm not saying that, but that is part of the instructions of the Golden Dawn, that we all make our own decks. So yeah, the guidebook is also very good. I can't remember where it is, but I mean, it's in here, where we also have the overlapping of the court cards onto the minors, which is what happens with the decan wheel and so forth. So again, and the seasons. So again, that has all been encapsulated into this. Okay, so right. Like, why am I talking about this? I have to look at something. I'm thinking of what here accidentally. If you just give me a moment. The name of Ian Daniel's next deck. I think I've written it here, but I'm not sure if it's correct. No. I think he's bringing forward something called, I might be wrong here, Tarot of Enchantments. And it will have other mythologies in there. I think he is. That's what it's called. And I think, as I recall now, he had an oracle or something by that name, and it could be that now the tarot is being developed, but I could be wrong. But I think that's why I've written that. By the way, I had developed the notes for this before I left for my trip, which is why I'm a little bit like, what was that? Okay, so yeah. So really well worth getting on its own. If you can get the deck and you like the art, which I think is again stunning, go for it. Of course, I always say, please be mindful of your own budget. I don't want anybody to put themselves into a difficult position. Okay, so let's look at these cards with pairings. You might think, okay, what did she use it with? So, well, the first deck I want to show it with, which was an absolutely amazing deck, is Talisman Oracle. This is mass market. All of the pairings were mass market. This is a US Games deck, and it's by Nora Paskaleva. Okay, I loved working with this deck. I believe she's the author and the artist. Really, really enjoy these pairings. You're going to see them now. All right, wow, look at that. I've got the Lord of Knives, which is basically the Lord of the King of Swords and Willpower. Just learn the truth, Ace of Skulls. Equilibrium, Two of Skulls. Oh, look at that. Look at that balancing here. The Three of Skulls is with cut ties. And then, oh, okay, maybe I need to switch them up a bit. Hold on a second. Death and Eternal Charisma. Look at that. Beautiful. Three of Grails, which is the Three of Cups. And good luck. Okay, Four of Grails, Four of Cups, and Grounding. Let me switch them up a bit because I think this is when they're not been shuffled enough. Four of Knives and Overcome Fear. Look at that. And of course, Four of Knives is about taking a truce, a moment out from the war. Five of Knives and Divine Guidance. Let's switch them up a bit here. This is the Two of Scepters, Wands, and Intuition. Oh, Four of Pentacles, Four of Skulls, and Rebirth. Let's skip ahead a bit. Nine of Skulls and Let Go. Ooh. So you got it. And then Seven of Skulls and Magical Power. Okay, so you saw how they look visually stunning. The messages really bounce off each other. Okay, so let me put that to the side and show you the next pairing. Okay, the next pairing I'm going to show you is with, let me show you with this one, which is the Les Vampyres deck. This is Lucy Cavendish by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Yes, it's one of those bug-eyed girl decks. Look, I needed to use this. And let me tell you, we'll go back to the full here. Let me tell you that I was not bonding with this deck. And this time with the Tarot of Vampires, it was like magic. This deck really spoke to me and had some very, very strong messages. So let me just shuffle it a little at least. And we start with Prey. Oh, wow. Stalked, invaded, watched, and we have the Fool. Let me just take a sip of water. Okay. The Priestess and Transgression, flaws, contradictions, mistake. Wow. I mean, Five of Knives again. I'm going to skip ahead a bit here to be something different. Six of Knives, Six of Swords, and love conquers all. The Tower and ecstasy, yielding, rapture, bliss. Okay. And then we have the Lover's card, and we have Creator, Catalyst, Maker, Mother, Father. And one final one, let's just do, okay, we have the Five of Coins again here, and natural, authentic, real, organic. You could do so much with this messaging. It really worked for me though. It really did. There was something about this deck that just, yeah, it was cosmic when I put these two together. Again, the Tarot of Vampires, when it wants to work, it works. Like when it wants to, I don't know what it was. It was almost like this deck came out, the Tarot of Vampires, like it wanted to sing, to dance. I don't know what, no, well, not dance maybe, but it was seductive. It was seductive as it worked with me. Okay, and the next deck, yes, that is indeed the Gothic Oracle by Anne Stokes. So this is again US Games. Anne Stokes is the author of the Guidebook as well. I have to say, with this Oracle, I was really blown away by the production quality. I just thought, gilded, but not that cheap gilding, I believe. I just really loved this glossiness. I really liked it, actually. It goes very, very well here as well, the colouring. So we have Angel Rose and the Ten of Knives, Daughter of Knives and Trick or Treat, Eight of Wands or Eight of Scepters and Awaken Your Magic. And we have the Prince of Skulls, which is again coins, and Lost Soul. Dragon Trainer and Two of Scepters again. An Ace of Knives and Dragon Beauty. Okay, look at the back of these. Okay, so I'm going to stop there with the pairings. You get an idea. This video has gone on long enough. I've blabbered enough. Okay, so I'm going to stop there and just start wrapping it up. I believe that, you know, again, this whole, oh, have I butchered that? Yep, I have indeed. This is what happens when I'm not paying attention. I just want to say that if you are looking for this out of print and you might want a review that helps you think, you know, am I actually going to pay a small fortune because it is out of print now? Do I want to do it? You know, you might want to watch several reviews because you might be investing a lot of money at that point. I don't know. And I understand that. I understand that very, very well. I would suggest that, of course, don't ever put yourself into a difficult position, but this might be a deck that you do want to make that investment purchase because it is a visually stunning deck. I think it's worth getting the cards as well as the, I just want to pull some new cards to end on. I think it's just a beautiful deck as well as a fantastic guidebook. So yeah, hopefully you can still find it. Until next time, thank you all for watching. It was a bit long, but I really appreciated working with this deck. Thank you for your time, and I will see you soon.